Hello, this is Eduardo from Bricks Maven, and in this video we'll be looking at converting core framework blocks and also automatic CSS blocks to the advanced theme framework. We're basically just replacing variables. I'm going to show you two ways to do it. There's a manual way and there is also actually a much faster way, but you have to really know what you're doing. It's actually just using an advanced themer framework, advanced themer feature. But let's start with the manual way and then we'll look at the advanced themer feature that will actually help you to convert your blocks much faster. Okay, let's dive in. So I'm going to import a core framework block. So this is the alpha template of Bricks Maven for core. I have ACSS here and also have ACSS, advanced themer blocks here. Pretty just the same blocks, are just supported by different frameworks. Okay, so let's convert this template. Let's say this was your hero section on your site or website you wanted to convert. You would go into the template and just go into every element and just start converting the variables. So let's just start from the top. We have our top section here. Well, nothing to change here. We move on to the second. Here we see var space to Excel. So to Excel mostly translates to a container gap. It has similar height, right? To Excel is like a container gap. So we use the contextual variable here to Excel. Let me see. You could also go, obviously you could go to your spacing and add it to Excel, but I like contextual variables because I can change all my container gaps throughout my whole website if I wanted to. So this is a better way of doing this. Obviously, for your layouts or your paddings, you can just use the spacing. So what else do we have here? Okay, we have a background. We have a typography color, which is set to light. I will change this to 80 white. Move on. Space M. I could, like I said, on the row gaps, column gaps, we use contextual variables. So this is a content gap. And on the spacing, here we also add a white to it. And that's basically that. Move on to the next. We add another content gap here. Okay, move on to the heading. Okay, heading needs a text variable, so this is going to be 80 text and to Excel and dash. So there we go. We have a heading. Let me see how large it's supposed to be. Let me just check real quick. Okay, it's not that large. This is also okay. Okay, next. Accent heading. Now AT does not support this utility class, so we remove that. And we'll move on. Subheading. Nothing to see here. CTA combo 2x. You can add a container gap x2 xs. Sorry. Here we go. Let me just save my progress. Maybe I should increase it a little bit. Just add a content gap. See, there's more space between the call to action and secondary action. On our button, okay, we don't have a button utility class, so we just remove it. And on the text link, we also remove. And I think this is a link. It says button, but this is a link, two links. Okay, cool. We could actually switch this out for a button. Switch that out for a button. Copy this text, paste it here. Wait, I need what am I doing? Primary button. Just remove this one. There we go. Call to action. Okay, let's move forward. We have our gap. Your var space m should be a grid gap. This actually works, but Advanced Themer Framework has a specific variable for it, so that's AT grid 3. So we add that there. We add here the 2, and we add 1 here. Yeah, you might see that it's not working. If you watch my previous video, there's some issues with the responsive breakpoints, but on the front, it works on the front end. So worries there. Okay, nothing to change here. Let's go to the top features card. Now, as you can see, I'm just going through every element, and you can imagine doing this 700 times, even over some blocks that are pretty heavy on elements, right? So this is actually doable. It's not that much, but they have some, like especially like a single page for a blog or a single product page. Those are like very large, a lot of elements, and that takes like very long. But once you get to the advanced themer feature that actually helps you make changes faster, that you see the real value of it. Nothing to change here. Nothing to change there. The CR heading H2, it should be H3. Also, one thing to note: if you come down to you add the advanced theme styles, your headings are set to where was it again? Your headings are set to H2. Might be overlooking it. Where did I see that before? Okay, that's weird. Or here, sorry. On the HTML tag default is set to H2. From memory, I think if you just have your normal theme style, normally it's set to H3. So if you import your blocks where your header tags have not been specified, it will automatically reset to H2, because here in Advanced Themer is set to H2. So if this is an issue for you, you can change this. So just letting you know. Okay, let's get back to the styling. This is a dark, so this one we should set to, you can set this to neutral or black. Just set this to neutral. The reason why I'm doing that is so that if we like switch to dark mode, it will show correctly. So let's also change this to H3. Change this to H3. Okay. And on our image, I don't think we need to do much here. Yeah. Okay, that's all good. And now our background image. Okay, I need to change here. And this will be I think this will be the last change. So this is a dark 70. We just give it a neutral T1, which is the darkest. And there you have it. We are done. Now, just one more thing. If you were using dark mode, you can lighten the color scheme. Look, I can switch between dark mode, light mode. This is actually light mode, and this is dark mode. But in dark mode, it doesn't look that good. Like, the background, it's actually destroying the look and feel of the design. So what you can do is you can actually lock this. So if you want to lock it, there's a class you can add. That's BRXC. Here we have it. Here you have your dark colors, initial colors, light colors. I explained this in, I think it's the second video I made about Advanced Themer Framework. You can actually lock these colors in. So if I say light colors, obviously you can switch it on the back end, but it will actually lock it on the front end. And let me say, for example, if I switch it to dark, it should not switch. See, it's locked. So it's locked on light mode. I'll show you the difference if I remove it, so that you see that it. Oh, I need to enable dark mode. I just want a button. Okay, let me save this. Okay, so this should switch. Cool. So if I was to, let me just add the utility class brxc light colors, save, it stays the same. So it's a good technique. You can add this to even nested elements, nested components. So if you have a specific, like a card or a section in a section, a nested component in a component that doesn't need to change colors, you can add these utility classes to preserve your design. So there we have it. So I actually initially planned to also do the automatic CSS part, but it's actually basically the same. We'll just be doing the same thing. You just watch me switching out variables. I just want to proceed now to show you the second way of doing this. I'm going to remove this. So just delete this. And maybe this time I will just go to a automatic CSS library. And then from there, we can do the advanced themer framework. We can apply the advanced themer framework feature to it. Just need to decide which block I'm going to choose. Don't want to make this too long. You know what? Let me just go for this one. Okay. That happens sometimes when you're importing the new Bricks versions. Let's try it again. Sometimes it's on the second go it works. Okay, that's weird. Let me just reload real quick. I don't know why it's taking so long. I'm gonna just delete this again. Go back to the templates. Okay, let's try this again. Several conflicts. There's no conflict. Oh man. Okay, this is weird. I don't know what's going. I don't know what's going on. You know what? This is a core framework block. I don't know why it's. I don't know what's going on. We'll have to check this out later. Just go for a core block. See if that works. If not, I might have to just copy from the online library. I just pushed an update, so I'm not seeing the new blocks in it. Let me just reload it real quick. Let me just pick. Yeah, it doesn't actually. Does it? Okay. Let's go for this one. Keep on getting this. I can't even see the glasses. Something is not. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, look here. It just took forever to load. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It took forever to load. That was very slow. Never had that before. Anyways, we have here is the block that we're going to be editing with the advanced themer framework feature. So basically the feature that I'm speaking of, maybe some of you already know, is the find and replace styles feature. So basically how this works is you add a value here, and then you add the value that you want to replace it with, and then you can actually choose, you know, if I just say all to all inside every CSS property and to the two specific elements, and then you can also put like where it's positioned on the same DOM level as child on the whole page, inside the parent, whatever. And also then say, okay, you want it to include the values inside the global class. If you say no, to look at the IDs. Yeah, so you say yes, and then you find and replace. And then, so for example, just give you a quick example. Let's say, select this style. It's a background. I'm not going to touch that yet. Okay, so let's say we have our var space to Excel, right? So I'll just select this, and I'll just go to my section. It doesn't actually matter. I'll show you real quick. If I just add this here, and here I just say, wait, maybe I already have it here, var container gap. So we want var spacing to Excel to change to var at container gap, and then we say we want it to be changed in every place this is found, in every CSS property, and in every element. And I just say on the whole page. But now I know in advance that it's only actually on one place, but that's the way we're doing it. And then you see it applies it. So if we go here, we see var at container gap, which is a cool thing. So let's just do another example. For example, I go here, you know, it could be the grid, it could be a gap. But the tricky thing is that I notice I cannot just go around and just say, hey, change every place where space n is mentioned, because this is supposed to be at the grid gap, right? So if I say change everywhere the space m is mentioned to grid gap, it will change it everywhere to grid gap. Well, I only want grid gap to be mentioned here, specifically on this spot. So I know that space m is here. And for example, let me see on the cards. I think space m is here too. Is it? Okay, this is just there's the card. See, space m is also here. So if I change the space m on the grid to grid gap, it will also change it here. But I don't want that. So you can also be very specific. So what does that mean? You could, obviously I could do it on this level. Doesn't really matter. I can say, okay, find class at a place, and then I say I want space m. Do I have grid gap here? Okay, marvelous. So I want the space m to only change in the specific CSS property, which is grid gap, right? And then say on the same DOM level, okay, classes, yeah, I say find and replace, and then you see it changes it. It changes it only. Where is it? Oh, here. Look, it changed it here, right? And then I can actually proceed because look, I have my space m here. So it doesn't really matter now. I know that I can actually just change and go to the top section, find and replace space m, add space m here, at, and then extra dash, and then I wanted to change it actually on the whole page. So everywhere the space m mentioned, you should just find and replace. So it changes on 2 places. Boom, there you have it. So what is actually the advantage of doing it this way, right? This is the advantage. So you're saying, okay, I'm actually just modifying one section. You know, maybe I could have done this by hand because this is a style, right? This is a CSS class. If I just change it here to change on every other class, right? But you're only changing it here. What if I want to change it over my whole website? Well, then we have go to class manager, your bulk actions, and then you click find and replace. You add your space M here, and you add your. Then now you can click apply, but like I said before, not everywhere space M is mentioned. You want it to change to space M. It might be grid gap, you know, it might be content gap. So you have to also exclude, which is actually hard. It's a bit hard to do here because I say I'm not really tried it. Let me see. Exclude. Type here the keyword that you want to exclude. Yeah, that is actually hard to do. So I found it's quite challenging in the sense of I think I need more options like on the when you're on an individual element where you can actually choose, you know, what specific CSS property you want to modify, and you can even be granular, you know, if it's a specific element or something. So in this case here, once we add our bulk options, find and replace, it would be nice if I could like exclude like grid gaps. I don't want grid gaps change, and I don't want row gaps and column gaps. I want it to stay away. I want to exclude that. So I will definitely hit up Maxime, see if that is a possibility. He also mentioned something about giving the find and replace feature some love. So this would be very powerful if you could actually exclude it on certain places. And this means that I could have changed the var space M and the var at space M on 700 blocks plus. So that would save me so much time of doing it manually, right? Whilst obviously excluding it from the grid gap and the column gap, which I cannot do here, which sucks. So this is another way of doing it. I think it needs to be, if those features were added, you know, then it would be much powerful. But this, I just wanted to share this with you guys, and I hope this helps also convert to your site to the advanced theme framework. If you're moving from core or if it's automatic CSS, this will help you a lot. So thanks for watching. Leave your comments behind, like this video, you know, so that others can see it too, so that it can push it out, so the algorithm can push it out. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.